Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Crucial Form.
What's up, everybody? It's Crucial Form from High School Top 200. Welcome back to the Monday morning meeting for another podcast this week for First City Rugby here in New Zealand. If you don't follow me on socials, my Facebook is High School Top 200. Also, my Instagram is HS Top 200 and HS Top 200 on TikTok as well. Go on there and follow me. I just post up stuff from games and little highlights, stuff like that on there. Nothing major. Also go on to YouTube, High School Top 200 on YouTube, and hstop200.com for the website. This is where you find all of my content with the rankings and all that kind of stuff that is on there too. But I'm glad to have you back again for another weekend. We're almost to the end of the season in terms of all the competitions, so kind of finishing up. I'll still do content all the way to Condors and still follow, but in terms of rankings and stuff, all of that will start finishing soon, and then we'll go into the next steps of having the content carry on in terms of like rankings and player profiles and stuff like as usual. But for last week, just so, because people were asking me what happened to last week's episode, and pretty much what happened with last week's episode is that I lost to frustration. I was trying to edit and trying to do something different. I effed it up so much that I couldn't undo my mistakes of editing, and I just kept making it worse and worse and worse and worse, and pretty much frustration won. And so I said, F this, and then I just carried on, and I just said, I don't want to put anything out. But what I was actually editing, and I'm going to do its own one, because I had it part of the thing, but I'm going to do its own one, is I have an idea for NPC draft, and I have got a whole idea of how to actually do it, and how it should be done, and how it's going to grow the game, build provinces, build players from the bottom level, as well as I think will bring in a lot more revenue and eyes and stuff to New Zealand rugby. So as I had already filmed it and I recorded it, and everyone's going, well, where's the other? I didn't actually have another one saved, so I just used the same one I wrecked it. But I am going to do it again because I got my notes and all that kind of stuff, and how I wanted to do it. So that's what happened, but I'm going to make its own video, standalone video by itself, because I think that it can work, and I think that it can, that it will be a big, massive change to the dynamic of New Zealand rugby. And we are losing the battle of rugby to South Africa, and in terms of not just like the best players or the best team, even though I love my All Blacks, I got to admit that I don't think we're better than them. And I think we've never had more talent than they've had. But for the majority of the time, I think we've had the better team. Just right now, and within the past like 5 years or so, I don't think that we've got a better team. And I think we need to do things that are different. And I think that we need to be more creative, more innovative, and be able to try things as well as branch out and try different ideas. I think, and I've said this before, and I've talked about the draft before and what I think it can do, and did a little mock draft myself. I have actually did some work on the money side of it, the provincial side of it, being able to grow the game from the level, and how we can offer also players and monetary stability for new players coming in, as well as where they can go after that, and also for Heartland to be a part of it too, because I just find it. We know that we have too much talent, but I also know that we don't have enough development programs in the country to keep that level up. And I think that if we made Heartland a bigger part of this, then I think that we can spread the talent around and continue to grow other areas. All of this stuff I'll talk about and explain it to my other video that I'm going to make, just the standalone one just on the draft itself. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to still do it. I just got frustrated, I got angry, and I didn't want to do it anymore because it just pissed me off that I wasn't good enough at editing and I didn't know how to make right my mistakes. So that was that. I wanted to talk about, because I had like a little discussion, I've always like talked about it too. I had a little discussion to somebody, and it was about boys that are leaving schools, because at the under 18 camp, you sort of go to, you know, the camp that you want to be at in terms of who you're going to be signing with, and especially when you're year 13, it's like if that's the direction that you want to go, you know, go with that one. I actually have a I've been thinking about it in terms of, I have the opinion of when a kid signs, or when a kid is invited to an under 18 camp, I feel like, and I think that the kid should make his decision on which camp he wants to go to based on where he wants to study next year or where he wants to live. You know, I think that just because you go to school in Hamilton, but you actually want to study in Otago next year, I believe you should go to the Highlanders camp. I believe that you should reach out to the Highlanders and say to them, hey, I actually want to go study down there next year. Would I be able to be invited to your camp? If you're from Auckland and you actually want to study down in Victoria, I believe you should go to the Hurricanes camp. I believe kids should actually put out where they want to go to and play the next year based on where they want to study, or where their apprenticeship is, or where they feel like moving to the next year. Like if you got a missus and you and your missus want to move to a different area, go, oh, me and my missus plan to move to Auckland, can I come to the Blues camp if I'm good enough? If you want to select me, am I able to come to your camp and not come to the Chiefs camp because I'm not going to be living here next year? Because, and then I feel like there's like this thing where I think a lot of the guys within the area are just being selected because they're just from that area. Even though that they know they want to study somewhere else or they want to live somewhere else next year, they're just going to that camp. I think it would be more productive if a kid would just put out there straight away, hey, I actually want to study agriculture and farming, and I want to go do it in Southland. I want to move to Invercargill. Can I come down there to the Highlanders area, and so that I can study down there? Or I'm going to go to Massey University. Can I come to the Hurricanes camp because I feel like I'm going to be living in Palmy? Things like that, you know. I've already got an opportunity as an apprenticeship as a builder in Napier. Can I come to the Hurricanes camp because I want to be living out there? I want to come to Hamilton. I've got family up there. I want to study at Waikato University. Can I go to the Chiefs camp if I'm good enough? And I feel like there's this thing where like kids don't know it. Kids don't know you can do that. Parents don't know you can do that. Coaches probably won't even talk to you about that. But I think that this has to be a proper discussion. And even if kids don't know how to go about it, it's fine. That's whatever. But at least have a coach and player interview, or even if it's passed on to like the manager of the team, to have a discussion with the boys and say, hey, do you know where you want to be next year? Because they're going to start selecting these teams. If you don't want to come to the Chiefs and you're not going to be living here, don't think about getting selected here. Try and get selected to the area that you're going to be in. Like, I want to live up in Nelson. I want to play for Tasman Marcos. Can I come to the Crusaders camp? If I'm good enough, can I come down to this Crusaders camp? I want to study down there in Canterbury. I want to be a part of that area. I'm going to be living down there. My land's down there. I'm going to go to stay down there. I've got some stuff that I want to do. I want to live up in Northland. I've got some stuff. Can I come to the Blues camp? Every kid should have this thing, and I understand that kids and parents don't know where to go to do these things. Even if they've already planned out, oh, I've always wanted to study medicine, can I go there? I feel like, and I know that this is going to be a big advantage if every team, especially with your senior players who are really, really good players and that have something already planned out for themselves that they've done even before they started school, and go, I used to look after my nan, I really want to study medicine down in Otago because that's my life thing. It's like, but they want me to stay here for rugby. I believe you should just go down to wherever you want to study. And even if you don't know how to go about this, I feel like the coaching staff has a big thing, a big place and a big responsibility in helping these boys get to where they want to go. So if they don't want to stay here with the Chiefs and they go, I just need to go down south, I want to be a dentist, I want to study down there and do it down there, the coaching staff should be able to get in touch with the talent ID down there. It's like, hey, we've got a boy up here who actually wants to be down there. He's going to be selected for the Chiefs under 18s, but he doesn't actually want to be here. Are you guys interested in having him? I think that this changes everything for how under 18s are going to be selected and how beneficial it is, not just even for the player but also for the Chiefs. Like, I don't understand why the Chiefs would bring in a player if they don't really want to be there. You don't even want to be there. Like, if that's the case, you'd be like, oh well, then if you're not going to be here next year, why would we want to bring you into camp? We'll just tell Auckland about you guys because you can go up there. Like, I like the fact that some of these guys have changed the places that they want to be. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to live here, so why would I want to come? And I go, oh cool, because we've got an open spot for somebody else. I'll see if someone else can be in here. I understand you want to retain it, but like, if you're going to try and talk a kid out of going to university and studying something that they want to study, to me it's counterproductive for the boy as well as for you. You know, things like this. And so I think there has to be an open discussion with I don't even know how you do it, but if I was a coach, I would do it through the coaches. I'll do it for the coaches and I'll ring up and go, hey, they don't actually want to come here, but I have to get in touch with the Highlanders talent ID down there. I have to get in touch with the Hurricanes talent ID. We've got a boy here who he's not actually going to be here, but he wants to be down there and have an open spot down there if you allow him to. Or if you've seen him and go, oh yeah, cool, we would need a player like that. I was thinking about this because it's more to the benefit of the player to go to a camp where they can sort of familiarize themselves with an area. Like, imagine like wanting to go to Dunedin and then you go there for the camp and then you're like, oh, is this what Dunedin looks like? I'm not saying Dunedin's a bad place, because Dunedin holds a place in my heart, and making sure that the kid, like, it's like almost like a trip, and then Highlanders can do their thing to do. So to welcome that kid in, to show them how good it is down there, to see what kind of rugby clubs there are down there, and to show them around and show them the city and go, this is what it looks like. And you can almost, promote the city and promote the program, promote, the advantages, the pathways that you have. Because, all these, they do these camps, like the Chiefs camps, and then Waikato University will make you play at them and go, oh, this is what you can study, blah, blah, blah. Wintec will do the same, show them what apprenticeships and what studies they can do, what other things that that they can do within the city. The Chiefs will come over and go, this is what our program is, this is the pathways that we have for you, this is your 5-year plan, and blah blah blah, whatever. Imagine doing all that and you're just like, well, I'm going to Wellington next year. I was just like, what do I care about this? And even trying to change someone's mind, like having an open kid that's just like, oh, I don't really know, but so I'm going to see what this is about. Fine, that's cool. I'm talking about the kids that are not even the kids that know that they want to study somewhere else, know that they want to be somewhere else. Some kids have been boarding ever since they're year 9, and they're just like, oh, I just don't want to live here anymore. I want to go somewhere else. And fair enough to those kids to be like, yeah, cool, just go to the place where you want to go. If you're good enough to make that camp and they allow it, I feel like you should be able to do it. I think and following your studies and what you want to study is real important, because every kid knows this and every camp will tell you the same thing. Being a professional rugby player is hard as hell. Percentages are real low. If it's still something around 3.4% to be a professional player, that's what you're dealing with. 3.4% to be a professional player. So lead with education first. still work hard at rugby, but lead with education first. Lead your life and your decisions with education first, unless the opportunity is that big. Unless the opportunity is that fulfilling and that life-changing, then have a think about it. But for most under 18 players that are good players coming out of high school, it's just like lead yourself and guide yourself through life with your educational choices rather than your rugby ones. If rugby happens, great, but still study hard, still do your studies, still follow that dream of getting a degree or a building apprenticeship or electronic apprenticeship, things like that. I feel like that's something that we should start up and that people should start looking at. I was looking at like I was talking about coaches, and I've always looked at New Zealand rugby and the small rugby community that we have, compared to everybody else in the world, the small rugby community that we have, the small amount of numbers, even now, which is less. And I always wondered why we were so good. Why did we have so many good rugby players? And I was thinking about this before, and I had some discussions with a few coaches and a few guys at schools and educators and stuff, and then a lot of it was based around the amount of coaches that are teachers, the amount of coaches that come from teaching backgrounds or educational backgrounds, being able to deal with kids, being able to deal with immaturity, and be able to deal with a growing mind and a growing character and personality, and how many of the coaches that we had were coming from the educational background, the educational sector, and I was thinking, well, that's got to be something about that, right? And then I also looked at it in the way that we have a lot of fathers, and I think that this is something that we should look at more, is that when we have fathers coming into coaching because their son is there, I think that we should get, and we should put more fathers and more coaches that come to help out at high school level, even if you're under 47, and put them through as many coaching certificates as possible, being able to advance even just the normal fathers, even just guys that are just there because their son plays and they want to be there, they know a little bit about rugby, played rugby a little bit, but I think we should be able to put so many of these volunteers through as many credits and tickets as possible in terms of coaching rugby, and having as many educators as well as possible. Fathers because they care, fathers because they have a way with their sons, as well as educators who know how to deal with and to lead and guide the same way, the same time, for kids that are just growing up, kids that are maturing and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of saw this thing where I thought, like, the more coaches that we have, the more guys that are knowledgeable in rugby and have this love of the game, but also care about the kids, I think make good coaches, and that make better examples of what we want on the field. And I have a feeling that there's the reason why we have so many good players is because we also have so many good people, good coaches that care. And the more coaches that you have care, and the more coaches that you have care, as well as these are coaches that care and also have really good rugby skills, coaching skills, and have been to so many coaching clinics and got all their tickets and all their levels and stuff like that. I feel like that's going to be a massive benefit to rugby as a whole. I always see a bunch of father coaches or teacher coaches that are, just there for their sons, but I also think that we can plant a new source of inspiration to maybe be a bit better than just a father coach and a teacher coach, but that may be able to add to this rugby game that we love, bringing their expertise into it, bringing their different personalities and ways of doing things that will actually make our kids better. All these volunteers that we have, I think we should put in through as many coaching clinics as we can. I mean, you don't really know who these coaches are going to, or what they're going to be, but maybe it will spark something up in some of these volunteers that they actually like the science of rugby, they actually like the technical side of rugby, they actually like the developing side of skills. Because I feel like a lot of people know, and I'm also guilty of this too, to the point where I can watch rugby, I know how to evaluate talent, I know what a kid is missing, I know what a kid needs, what they need to better themselves at, or what they need to do it, but I don't know how to coach it. I know the coaches that can coach this, I know that the things they do, but I don't know how to coach them to get better. And I've been denied 3 times to do my coaching thing through Waikato, and that's okay. I've been denied 3 times, but I believe that the more coaches that we have in the game, even from the lowest level, and trying to build up these kids and from a younger age and teach them the fundamentals of and the real technical side of rugby as a young kids, and making it fun and making it putting a really fun activity to it, as well as teaching them without teaching them. I feel like a lot of parents and teachers will be able to do that thing for these kids, and I feel like that's been done a little bit throughout, growing up and seeing all these different coaches come through. But I think that more coaches should be put through this, and I think we're going to find a lot of diamond in the rough coaches that didn't even know that they were coaches and that they were good at it, but they just have it in them. And I think that there's got to be something there, because we got so many good players, we got so many good young kids coming through, and obviously at the highest level we only got one team at the highest level that we can go. We've only got 5 teams that feed into that one team. We've only got 14 teams that really feed into those 5, and then other than that we've just got a bunch of provinces that have club teams. But we've got all these players that are there, and I feel like we've got the more coaches that we have, we'll be able to make a bigger and better competition for all these different places. And like my thing has always been the same, where I've been I'm for the players, I'm not really for the province, I'm not really for the franchises, and I'm not really for the All Blacks. Even though I love my team and it's my favorite team, I'm not doing this for them, I'm doing this for the player himself. The more players that we tune out, where they have like all these excellent skills and fundamentals that they've brought up with through all our coaching, I feel like it will come from that side of it, where we have all these volunteers coming through. schools put them through all these, different coaching things, and I hope that someday it gets to that point where they can do that kind of stuff. And it was just one of those thoughts that I had, because I remember just watching. I was just at one of the games, and I was watching one of the first 15s warm up, and then I saw a game on one of the other fields, and I saw a guy who just looked like he was just a father. But the kids listened to him like intently. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't screaming, he was like direct, he was making the eye contact, he was, the kids looked like they were believing what he was saying, and, they broke in the huddle, then they ran back on the field, and I thought, if that's just a dad that's inspiring these kids, and he just had a little bit more coaching, and he got a little bit more coaching for his better, knowledge of the game, and then what he can pass on to these kids that he's just got their attention. I just looked at that and I was like, because not everyone can demand attention. Not everyone can demand a room. Not everyone can demand, eyes. Ears don't even always want to listen to, what's around them. The loudest voice doesn't always get the most attention. And so it's always inspiring to me who can command attention, and who's actually, and what attention you're commanding as well, like from what demographic and from what age group, and all the genre, gender, and all that kind of stuff. Is just it's inspiring to me to see these guys and the way that they're doing. And I mean, I'm like one of those guys that have watched sports my whole life and pretty much loved looking at coaches and what they could do. And I feel like we have a lot of those rugby coaches here in New Zealand. I feel like we have some of those guys that are just hidden. I mean, our coaches even just now are just getting called out all over the world. Like a bunch of them just get, they're signing all over the place. I feel like we might have more though. Maybe there's more to it than what we see, I was I've always thought about this, thinking about the end of this, because I don't want to make this like a long podcast like I usually do, and I don't want to ramble as much. I probably will, but I'm just saying my intention is not to do that. But I was looking at obviously the ending of the season, how much games have we got left, and I was thinking about the boys that have finished. Like I've looked at the All Blacks team, and I've looked at the Super Rugby teams, and I always sort of take notice of who comes in and out and all that kind of stuff, who gets signed and who gets new contracts going into NPC, all that kind of stuff. And pretty much everybody that's in the All Blacks right now has been on my high school top 200 rankings. And I was thinking about how many guys that have passed through. I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years. This year is my 11th year. Damien McKenzie was on my first rankings. And I was thinking back to all these guys playing their last game for their first 15. A lot of you guys, the next couple of weeks might be your last weeks playing for your first 15, playing for your school, playing with that crest on your chest that you've been wearing since year 9, with all your other mates that you went to school with. every team that you've been making from under 14s, under 15s, to first 15 to 16, under 16s, or whatever, achievement at a time every single year, and it's going to be the last time that you're going to put on your school colors with that crest on your chest. And as I was looking at all these boys that played for the All Blacks, that play Super Rugby, and that I have seen all come through, I was thinking, I wonder what their last thoughts are, what their last thoughts were sitting in that changing room after knowing this is the last time that I put on this jersey, and what runs through their mind. Because like, if you think about it, right, like, and I've said this before to a lot of people and passing, and like to individuals and to players, it's like, not many people play first 15. Not many people play 2 years of first 15. 3 years is a stretch. 4 years hardly ever. And that's all you've got. To play at a school, to play amongst your friends, guys that you hang out with school that you've hung out at school with every single day from year 9 to year 13, or depending on how long you've known these kids. Like most of them you come to primary and intermediate with, and then you all come through to high school, and then your first meaningful rugby starts at high school level, pretty much at under 15s, when you start doing national tournaments. That this is the last time that you're going to hold this jersey. I looked at these All Blacks and I wonder what their last thoughts of, what their last thoughts were, like taking off their jersey at the end of a game, just sitting in the locker room and going, I'm never going to be able to play in this jersey again. Because you can play club rugby when you finish, and you can decide to stop that. You can play presidents for as long as you want in a club team. But first 15, if you don't make it at year 13, you don't even play first 15 for your school. And for most schools in the country, first 15 is your highest level of sports achievement in your school, depending on what school you go to. But for most of them, it's first 15 rugby. Even at smaller schools, it's first 15 rugby. Your rugby team may not have been that great, but if you made the first 15 in your school, you're pretty much the man in your school for the most part. But some guys won't even make it, they won't even play one first 15 game. And to me, first 15 is the most meaningful rugby you can play, where you play with friends. Club rugby, you like guys from other clubs join. You can swap every single year if you wanted to. You can't swap schools every single year if you want to. It depends how hard your life is, but most of the time you can't just swap the next year. But if I wanted to, I could just go from Fraser Tech to Hautapu to Melville to Old Boys to varsity. I could change every year if I wanted to play rugby. But schools is like where most of your friends are, where your childhood friends are, where your first rugby trips happen, and all these memories that come with us. I always wondered what these All Blacks that are now, or Super Rugby players that are now, or all these guys that have made it professionally in their life, like what they thought of the last time they put on their jersey. And to me, obviously, I'm a first 15 guy. Like first 15's like, to me, the pinnacle. Like I stopped watching guys unless they, when they leave school. I was like, I don't really watch them unless they get into like NPC or, Super Rugby or All Blacks. But I don't follow kids around to club rugby. It's too much and it takes up too much time. But at least NPC and stuff, I can see highlights on YouTube, or I'll watch the games if I'm sitting around doing it and I don't have any more games to watch. I do it like that. But this is, to me, this is the most meaningful rugby that you get. And it's got to feel really special. Like, even me playing, I didn't realise what my last first 15 game was. I think it might have been Wesley, which I think you can find on YouTube. And if you search up Wesley and Church College of New Zealand 2021, which was my last year of high school, third year in the first 15, like, I actually don't know, but I think it should be, I think a lot of you boys that are finishing might want to recap and take mental snapshots of your last game in that jersey, and be appreciative of the memories and the stories and the growth, the opportunities it's brought. I think it's like something that we skip by pretty fast, and people that are my age, like your parents and grandparents, uncles and aunties that are all kind of my age in the 40s and 50s and 30s, and because we didn't have social media growing up, I think it's easier to do it now. That Facebook memories can recycle back, and Instagram will have it there, and unless you're doing Snapchat, and it's not going to stick around. But for the most part, you can timeline your life just through your social media. But back then we just couldn't, and I don't know what, I think I should have been more grateful for what the coaches and the parents and the schools gave to us to be in that position where we could play for that team. And so all you guys that are coming towards your last game or coming into it, just take note of it. Have your thoughts, have your reflections, and maybe find the gratitude in it. Something I didn't think I would, I probably should have done too. Didn't really know anything like that. I mean, there was no one doing top 200 when I was at school, so yeah.
Come on, guys, keep working!
Also, the last one probably coming up. I've been asked about New Zealand secondary schools, and because I did a year 11 team, I did a year 12 team, and people ask me who I think New Zealand secondary schools will be. And I got my thoughts, and I'll probably put it out this week sometime. But my thing is that, my thoughts are always going to be different from New Zealand secondary schools. My selections are going to be different. Like, they have a plan they have a game plan, then they have what players they want in that game plan, and what players are going to be selected for that game plan so that they can execute the game plan. And so it's always going to be different from me, where I feel like I just pick the best players that I feel like the best players are in that position. So mine's going to be different. And I always have something like, I pick like 5 people per position, and I look at it, I go, yeah, I still think he's better, and I still think this guy's better, and I think this guy's better. And sometimes I'll go, I think these 2 props work better, and these 2 locks would be better together, or this trio of loose forwards would work better, or will work in this way. And Midfield would look like this. My back three kind of would look like this too. It's just like I like these two wingers together. I like this fullback and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. I think of the game like that in most parts, but for most part I just choose what I'm using in secondary schools based on who I think just the best players are. But if you're one of those guys at home, or if you're year 12 and you're year 11 and you're listening to this, and probably not because most of you guys can't think or have that kind of attention span, if you're watching this, if you want to make New Zealand secondary schools, what I suggest you do is you look at the All Blacks and you look at all the people in your position that are in Super Rugby and in NPC, and you go, what does their body type look like? And you copy that body type. If you're too short or if you're too small, maybe you should think of another position. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to go, well, if you really want to make it, you're going to blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, okay, whatever. Good story. All I know is that if you're a prop right now and you're not the best scrummager, then they're looking for props that are big, massive dudes. Look at our props that we have. All of them are massive, except for Fletcher Newell. But he's probably the best scrummager that we have. Maybe him and Lomax, but Lomax is a monster too. Lomax is big. Toshi's big. Ethan's big. We've got big guys. So if you're young right now and you're going, how do I do this? You go, okay, well, I'm not that big, but if I get strong in the gym, work on my scrum game, and if I can become the best scrummager and I could look like Fletcher, that's what I would go for. If you're a hooker, you'd be like, okay, I'm more towards some of Sonia's size. Got to try and make my run game like that. I mean, look at Moa right now. It's like he's the same thing with under 20s. Not that big, but he's a block, solid as, strong as, good leg drive, grinds everything out. Mimic all of these. If you're not that big, if you're not that tall, but you're forward, if you're a lock and you're a small lock, go, maybe I'm up 6. If you're a small lock, and if you're just a lock because they go, oh well, I'm just the tallest on my team, I go, cool. But in the regional under 18s, they're gonna say lock and go, you're too short. I better move to 6, or I better quicken up and get to 7. It's like, oh, look at our open sides, look at our loose forwards. How do they play? Artie's not the biggest guy, Wallace is not the biggest guy, but they're fast and dynamic. They're strong with the ball in hand. They're so quick, they don't really lose speed off the run. They grind everything out. Artie screams, but we know that. It's like, that's not got anything to do, it's just a fun fact. But then you could look at Tupou, Penny. If Penny's going to be like that, be like, okay, well, I'm small for a lock, but I can make blindside. I can transition to number 8. I need to be kind of like this. So whatever position you are, just look at all the professionals and what they're doing and try and mimic what they are, because most likely you're going to be selected based on if you fit the body style and the size of what they have in the pros. And I don't care what you're saying, well, it shouldn't be like that and blah blah blah. That's just not whatever. That's just whatever, that's not what they're doing. They don't care about that stuff. They care about all the players that they select coming through, hopefully are in that mold, because we ultimately want these guys to be All Blacks at the end, and we all want them to fit the mold of an All Black that we, and we as I'm talking what New Zealand rugby look for in that position that they want. We want all our second fives to be this size around. We want them to play like this kind of play. We want our first five to look sort of like this, and if they don't look like that, we want them to play in this kind of skill set. We want them to have this kind of thing. If you're a winger, we want our wingers to be this kind of winger, and if they're not like that, then we want them to have this kind of skill set. World Rugby has changed rules, have changed its dynamics, and go, okay, the skill set has changed, and this is why it's important for you guys to watch rugby. Stop watching highlights, watch rugby, and go, oh, that's what he's doing in my position at the highest level. I don't have that as a part of my game, but I better get that as part of my game. Now, if you're going to make New Zealand secondary schools, or if you're going, cool, I just missed out on New Zealand secondary schools, but I've got 2 years to make under 20s. And you can still work on that to make the under 20s. Just be in that frame. Be in that frame of what they want. Hard work and agility and talent and all that stuff goes along with it. But it's like, cool. The size-wise, the power-wise, the physical sense, it's like, cool, you're not that big, but you can be strong. You can be agile. You can be mobile. You can be fit. Too many of my island boys still to this day think that too. It's like, bro, you're not too big. You're just unfit. Just be fit. Even if you're big, just be fit. Play the whole 70 minutes and just keep running. Like, there's a couple of guys, to me, it's just like, oh, you're just unfit, bro. But you're better than most of these props. Bro, you're just unfit. That's all it is. Just don't be scared to make these teams. Don't be scared to put yourself out there and go, yeah, I want to be the best at my position this year, so I'm just going to train like I'm the best. And if I want to make New Zealand secondary schools just like, cool, that's what all the guys look like, I'm going to try and do that. And if I can't reach this height, be like, cool, I don't have that height, but he's about my size, and I'll just do what he does. You miss out on New Zealand under 20s, or New Zealand secondary schools, it's like, cool, whatever. Okay, cool, I got this close to it. I got this close to it. Okay, I just need to do this, and this. Regional coaches are telling me to fix this up and do this. Cool, I'll just do it that way. Oh, cool, I made NPC, cool, they want me to be like this. Oh, this older fella's in my position, this older guy, and they sort of play it like this, and then starting is like, I need to do this to get into the starting. But don't try and just go, oh, I'm going to do this on my way, on my terms, and my. It's like, well, cool, then. That's the way. It's like, fine, that's up to you, but just don't complain when then it's like, oh, why didn't they like me? It's like, because you're not doing what they want you to do. I mean, you see a pattern of who they're selecting. Just stop trying to like do things your way, so at the end you get, oh, I just did this my way. It's like, cool, do that your way, and just don't get selected. You know, there's like a pathway to this. There's a reason why they're doing this. You can be the extreme, like, oh, I'm going to do it. It's like, look how I made. It's like, cool, that's fine. But there was about 800 of you that tried to do it that same way. You're just the one that came through. 800 fellas, like 800 guys all failed because they wanted to do it their way. Story sounds cool. Percentages are even lower. So if you want to make it in the teams, you want to look at New Zealand secondary schools, and this is for your year 12s and year 11s. Look at what those guys are doing in your position, and do what they do. That's as much as I can tell you. Remember, my stuff is all opinionated, all opinion. But I watch all of most. Actually, I've watched most of your games. I should have kept a list of what games how much games I've actually watched this year. Because I watched a lot of you play, and so like this is all my opinion. This is based on what you do on the field. I have no criteria about how tall you should be or how fast you should be, or I just look and see how good you are on the field and where I think that you'd land of a list of 200 people in the country. That's all I do. I don't care how short, tall, how fast, slow, fit, unfit. It's like, no, he lands around here. He doesn't really make the list. He's sitting in this box of 20. I have like a box of 20 guys that sit just outside of the top 200 that will sneak up and down throughout the year, that kind of thing. And like I just do it like that. But if you want to make all these kind of different teams, then yeah, you just have to follow that plan. You know, but I mean. You know, but I mean, really, it is up to you. Going over the list of games, Silverstream and St. Pat's Town. What do you think? Because that's a hard one, eh? Silverstream is just too good, really. Basically, just too good. I like the change that St. Pat's Town did with Remy Fitzmaurice going into 6. Give them more games there, change around. Okusa was good. I like the switch of the first 5 in the beginning, like that was good. But I mean, like, Silverstream is just Silverstream, and I think it's going to be one of those things where next year Silverstream is just going to be a problem, and they have just a good team right now that are gearing up for that. And so, yeah, it's just going to be one of those hard ones. Still waiting for the Christchurch game. But I mean, I went to like Auckland Grammar and Liston. Liston had a few guys out that I think would have changed the game. And that one point in it, I believe that if you add these 2 boys back in it, I think Liston's a better team than Grammar. But, you know, you play with what you got on the day. It's got nothing about who's missing and who's not. But yeah, I think whoever's in the top 25 now, or maybe like top 30, you're switching around with the top 25. Most teams are coming down to what the finals would be and semi-finals would be. I mean, like Christchurch and Marlborough stay at the top of their table. Even though Palmy lost to Rotorua, Palmy's still going to be in that finals, and I think their second, their team in the finals could be different. I think Hamilton might maybe have a chance, depending on who wins and loses. Yeah, CNI is like pretty much almost set. North Harbour's the same, pretty much almost set. Wellington's kind of at that point as well. Otago Comp's kind of like that too, and even with like Kings, you know, really dominating Otago boys, which is just not one of those things that you usually see. It's like, yes, it's just a hard thing to do, you know. Like, and Silverstream coming away. It's funny, like Silverstream, 90 points on Scott's College. Dominic, give me a call. Dominic Bird, give me a call. Let me help. I want to help. Any school that wants to help, let me help. If I can help you out with anything, give me a call. Send me an email. You know. But it's going to be interesting over these next, this next week, trying to get everyone in. Even the 1B, like I went to Waitakere and Sir Edmund Hillary collegiate, and I saw their game. And look, there was like an incident that happened on the sideline, and I am all for people cheering on the sideline. And I think she was a parent of Waitakere. I think she was a parent. She was walking up and down and cheering. One of the coaches from Sir Edmund Hillary was walking up and down the sideline, shouting out commands and demands and instructions and stuff to his boys. And I don't think the parent liked it and was like sort of borderline calling him abusive, or like, but he wasn't swearing, he wasn't rude, he wasn't, you know, there was nothing, like, he may have been allowed, but that's kind of what you want to do if you're barking instructions. And she kept telling him to be quiet, or he shouldn't say that, and he was just like, no, I'm within my rights. And I actually sided with him. I was saying, yeah, he's not swearing at the boys, he's not trying to demean them, he's just barking instructions, you know. It's what you want them to hear. It's like a lot of people around, you know, when you're in a game, you don't really hear that much, so you have to be loud or else they're not going to hear you. So that's what he was doing. And throughout like the second half, it just kept going back and forth with this lady and this guy, and he was all good. Like, I didn't think there was anything wrong with what he was doing. And I've come across some coaches in the past, a lot of coaches in the past, that would swear at the boys and just, like, you know, swear about them or swear whatever they did, they would cuss it at. But this guy was not doing that at all. You know, he was being uplifting, he was being, you know, and giving out his commands, but, you know, also being disappointed because something doesn't work out, or some boy does something silly. He's just like, oh, bro, you can't do that, like, you know, yelling at them like that. But he wasn't like demeaning him about it, you know. It's like things like that. And I just found it interesting how that exchange happened, you know. And I started to think, or maybe she's just getting annoyed that her team's not winning. I just started to think different things. I said, well, he's not saying anything bad, so why would you have a problem with that? Or why would you have a problem with him walking up and down, barking commands? And, you know, he's got his walkie on him, he's got the 2 kicking tees, he's got a water bottle in his hand. It's just like, yeah, he's not like a fan. He's not like a parent just like trying to, you know, rev up their son. And he was there with the team. It was strange. It was strange to watch. It was strange to see. And it was actually a really, really good game. It was actually a really good game to watch for Waitakere and Sir Edmund. And like, and like, boys, and like, coaches, please, I understand. All your boys play league. I understand that your boys are league players. But please, on a kickoff, tell them where they need to stand. Tell them why they stand in these positions. Tell them why they're paired up with somebody, and put it into practice. And it's lucky again. I've said this in other years, and usually it happens in the 1B because, you know, you've got talented guys that just are playing rugby. They don't know how to play rugby. They're not that great at it, but they're just physically and athletically gifted, and they're all league players, and they've just never really played rugby. That's just something to do, I guess. But if you stand at a kickoff and you try and play a rugby team with rugby players against league players who stand like you're kicking off in league, 9 times out of 10, that rugby team is just gonna kick it high, short, and they're just going to dominate whoever catches that ball. And it was funny too, just the way that it happened, because I was just thinking, why don't you just put a short one right here? Don't kick it down there to where the runners are set. You know, it's just like, no, just kick it to this fella right here. He's by himself. The next person away is 5 meters, exactly 5 meters from where you're standing. It's like, just kick it to this guy. maul over, clean the rack out and secure it and get a turnover. Something like that, and it's just so easy to explain to them. And then you get a smart first five or fullback or winger or just some of these smart players go, bro, just keep this fella by himself. Me and you, bro, let's just target this guy and we'll just blow him over. I'll just clean him out and we'll just get the turnover. There's guys like that just spotted. They go, oh look, they're setting up like a elite team here. We'll just kick to this guy. Big guy with the headgear. And everyone just looks at him and go, cool, spot this guy. Gotta tell them. They're gonna get hurt and they're gonna be frustrated when they get stolen. They get kicked to every single time and they don't know what else to do. Just a tip. Anyways, I better stop before it hits 1 hour, but it's already too long. Anyways, love yous all. Push your phone later, ball.